Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. This is gonna be an account showcase for my ambition season. As I'm making this video, it's about a week and 3 days, about a week and a half until the World Arena season closes. As you can see on screen there, I'm only rank 659 right now, and it's pretty hard to maintain Emperor. Like by the time that I sign off, an hour later, I'm like, 100 ranks lower because the points keep going up. Because it, like, a lot of people are playing, it's very competitive up top, which is really healthy for the game. I really do think that it's really good, and I am having an okay time. Like, this is the farthest I've ever pushed in World Arena with all seasons combined. I think that outside of a couple heroes in the meta, Violet, maybe Angel of Light, Angelica, maybe Rem, the meta is pretty good in terms of, like, there's a lot of flexibility. It's just that when it comes to those three heroes, you kind of really have to work around them, which is pretty tough. Anyways, that being aside, I wanted to showcase my heroes that I use for this season. Of course, like, during the entire season of Ambition, that's including like Arena, Guild War, World Arena. Obviously, I had to shift things around back and forth, but I think this showcase would be a snapshot where I feel that the stats on these heroes are pretty good. Of course, I'll commentate on each one as I feel that, I want to change certain things on something, or I don't want to change certain things on something. I'll commentate on it as I'm doing this. So first things first is RB. It's interesting. I think they readjusted the CP. So last season, it's exactly the same RB. Like identical, but the CP was at 200,000, so it's kind of odd. I think they did some shifting. I thought it was just inflating the Soul Weavers and the Knights, but I'm not quite sure. Regardless, it's a 199722. CP is not that important. It's usually just a flex number. But I think Pavel has higher CP base, so technically you get higher CP on Pavel if you have really good gear. It is triple S, of course. This took a long time because RB was like, RB was the thing. A lot of people have nerfed him. I haven't decided to nerf him, mainly because his gear doesn't really help on a very fast hero. I would say like Strays would probably be like a hero I would want to hit these kind of stats on, but on immunity, which I don't have. So right now this stays on my RB. I mean, I have used him this way in World Arena. It has worked as like a last pick or something, and Guild War, of course. Arena, I always experiment with new heroes in Arena, so I don't really use him there. But I mean, RB is RB, so he's still good. He's still strong. I see him used once in a while from others as well. So definitely a still decent pick. Luna. Luna definitely a very good hero, especially after the buff. They did really well with her buff. Mine is triple S, if you guys know me on YouTube, or actually just know my history in general. How I pulled triple S Luna on her first banner before Draco played, and then I chased Draco played. I got another 5 Luna, which is sitting in the storage. So yeah, triple S, and then Max Molid, back when she was meta, back when she was new. But it's worth it now. Her buffs made her really good. Wait, did I show all the RB gear? I think I did, right? Yeah, so RB gear is exactly the same as last season, so not much to show here. There's obviously missing stats like in this as well. A lot of emphasis on the flat defense there. So he could be stronger, but I don't know. I think he's fine. Like, as long as I get better gear on others, it's fine. Luna. Ideally, so Luna I've been using for currently the Arena meta right now, which is a lot of Angel of Light, Angelica, Bellion, like Ram or Landy or Maid or something like that. So I've been kind of using this Luna with my Oxlots, just nuking out 2 targets and then having Merciless Glutton at plus 30. Which is a blessing, because back when this artifact actually sucked, I pulled this like a lot. I actually had 2 max limit broken Merciless Glutton because of my luck was so quote-unquote bad. And then this got buffed, and I kind of wish I still had the other one. I did sell it for powder because I was thinking, okay, I'll keep one max limit broken in case it got buffed, and then just sell the others for powder. But this turns out to be a really good artifact, especially on Luna, I'd say. Especially on Luna. I tried this on A Ravi. it didn't work as well. A Robbie needs like a bit of ramp up to get that damage going, but Luna is like a nuking hero, so this ends up being really good, especially with like Oxlots. Like I said, I use it for Guild War as well, so like Luna like this with Oxlots Guild War. It is missing 2% crit rate. I do see that. The S3 is elemental advantage, and the Soulburn S1 is usually strong enough that I usually go for some kind of, you know, whatever. There's no excuse. Ideally I get to 2% crit rate, but these are the stats. This is the Abyss Ring, which actually rolled okay for like a kind of like a bruisery DPS. So the Luna, because she has really high base defense, the HP and the defense is pretty good, but she'll still get like one shot by like, let's say, a Violet or something. So yeah, so the high attack percent with a flat attack is the best for her if you're scaling the attack. Her attack is not the highest in terms of warrior. And then Strays. So I recently rebuilt him. As I'm making this recording, I recently rebuilt him. I should max mold this. He's very strong. He's very strong in World Arena right now. Very strong in Guild War Arena. Just because of his defense pen mechanic. The issue with this one is that ideally I'm on Symbol of Unity or even Portrait, so that I can kill a knight without an attack buff. This at this moment, like the stats here is a bit iffy, but I wanted to keep the speed up so that I could beat most knights. Alright, I'm not saying that it will be all the knights, but it will be most knights in case I don't have an initiator or my initiator gets banned. Let's say Amelia gets banned or something. So the attack is at the okay side. The crit damage I would say I'm pretty satisfied with. It's just that this artifact with the speedier type build, I don't think it really works. So I'm gonna be looking into making him 100% crit rate for one, and then probably on like a Portrait and Symbol of Unity. The issue of Symbol of Unity is that I feel like I need it on everyone, so it probably won't go on him. We'll have to see. But this is what I'm currently at, and this is what I was meaning. Like I wanted to take a snapshot of this. Oh yeah, I could roll the effect resistance there for crit damage, so I could get a bit more damage out of this one. So what's the max? So crit damage on I-90 is 8%, I believe, if max rolled. So I can break the 280 there. I think everything else is min-maxed. Yeah, I think everything else is min-maxed in terms of damage. This used to be my Fire Robbie boot, so you'll see some heroes are ungeared now. Operator Sigret, using Guild War and Arena offense a lot. Usually pair her with some kind of like either an Oxlot or a MO Charles. So the speed is at 250, which is not really good for an opener, but it is again quick enough to, let's say they ban an initiator, quick enough to beat most knights. So I'm okay with this. I might look into, depending on how I speed tune for World Arena, I might be looking into crit set again, so I can alleviate some of the crit substats more into the speed or something. I do like the damage where it's at. This works very well without an attack boot. As long as I have an attack buff, it can still like nuke out very high HP targets through FCC barrier. It is on a crit rate neck. Yeah, so almost 300 crit damage. And then on for World Arena, I do switch to Wall of Order. In case I get a lucky proc, which is much necessary again if I don't have a initiating attack buffer and I wanted to nuke out with S2. So it's more of like, if I have her on Wall of Order, it's more of like on first turn if she gets Gab, then you S2 and then S3. If she doesn't, then you just S3 and push back, right? So as long as they have FCC and there's the barrier, so there's that kind of way. Remnant Violet, last season, this is probably a dramatic change since last season. Last season I had him kind of like I think it's like 1300 defense, 11,000 HP, Bruiser type. It was like a 3.8k attack and then 270 crit damage, I believe. Regardless, I realized that like a lot of people have been building Remnant Violet, rebuilding him to like, you know, one shot like a Maid Chloe. They like banned the damage mitigation or something like that, and they one shot the Maid Chloe. And a lot of them are on speed set. I have seen Lifesteal nuker type too, but I wanted to build mine on Lifesteal because I mean, I had farmed lifesteal a lot, and then now recently I'm on this injury type of binge. So a lot of my lifesteal gear end up being like hand-me-downs. So so I'll show the stats here. I'm missing 2% crit rate on the screen. I think I could get 1 from here. Let me see if I can modify actually. Yeah, is it? Yeah, there's a 1% that you can get from here, and there's actually 2% I can get from here. Do I have one? Yeah, I believe it's 2% with the greater, so it's 11%. So no matter what, I get 100%. I can get 100% crit rate. Except that in this build, the critique would be that I think the defense is okay. For the amount of damage I have, the defense is okay. I would want like a bit more HP. Definitely about like 10,000-ish. But anyways, as I'm making this recording, I would have posted like a RTA compilation thing. And you would see this Remnant Violet in action. It's pretty good. It does a lot of damage, and Shepherd of the Hollow is the best in slot in my opinion for Remnant Violet. Especially lifesteal Remnant Violet, because it allows him to actually just siphon back so much more health, because if your health is decreased a maximum up to, at this point, 21% more damage. I think it's at plus 30, I think it's 12% base at max HP, and then up to 24%, which is like more than Portrait. So it's very, very powerful. But that's like, we're talking about like, you know, less than 30% HP. That's how you proc the last bit here. This chest rolled really well. I actually got this from the Covenant coin shop, and it rolled really well for me, so I was really happy with that one. This one's actually a very, very low gear score. Even if I get maximum crit rate, it's actually very low gear score for anyone. But on this Remnant Violet, because I was like focusing on damage, this is okay. Maybe in the future I'm willing to drop maybe like 200 or maybe 150 attack for hopefully, optimistically, 1k health. It will help my build a lot, like for a lot. This is a very low rolled ring, but it works for him. Pen set S1 with attack buff and Shepherd is very, very strong on him actually. And then this one, it's yeah, hopefully you get an upgrade as well. I think the flat attack there is probably the worst thing. So like eventually if I get a boot like this with HP, I think I'll be where I would want him. Vivian is used for PvE, Banshee. And this is my MO Charles. It is max Mola now. I'm thinking to slate him actually. I'm kind of liking him. I think I originally did initial thoughts on MO Charles, and I think that he was a well-designed hero. I'll say that again because I mean this is my content. This was my thoughts. He's a well-designed hero in terms of the S1, S2, S3. Very good harmony. And it took a while for I think the mainstream RTA streamers, RTA players to really adapt him. I've seen multiple builds actually, like slower ones, and have an initiator set him off with his S2, and on lifesteal and stuff like that. But it seems that a lot of people are having really good success with him. And again, if you watch the video that I put out, kind of like an RTA compilation, you would see me use him. And honestly, I think he's fine. I think he's good. He's a good hero. So I might actually think about slating him. I have a couple slates, and I don't know who I want to use it on. So that'll be something I'll look into. Most likely, if anything, the slate would be offsetting the crit rate so I can get more speed and not more damage. I mean, more damage would be good too, but I think more speed is what I want. This one, it was a sad base attack, but it's 21 speed, so I can't argue with that. So crit damage, I can roll for another 3% there, but that's like very like min-maxing, so it's not really worth it. This one would be more worth it for a speed set one. Roll the effectiveness out for some crit damage, and I think I got a really good helmet here. This one a bit min-maxing too, but actually crit, yeah, so this okay. Crit ones that don't roll a lot, so let me just roll this because this is 18 speed with DPS sub. So all right, sure, we got another 2, okay. We got another 2%. and this one is pretty much maxed of where it could be. I had to readjust him. Before he had like lower damage, lower speed, but I definitely wanted him faster, just to beat some of the kind of mid-speed initiators, because mine's not on immunity. I don't have enough speedy immunity sets anymore. Yeah, so this is my ML Charles right now. Also on Shepherd of the Hollow. I made sure to there was okay, Whale Stories maybe. There was a pack that they released. It was like you get to choose your 5-star artifact pack or whatever, and I chose Shepherd of the Hollow because on him and Remnant Violet is like some of the best in slots. Basically, self-attack buffing Thief with evasion is like best in slot with Shepherd of the Hollow, in my opinion. So Politis, I use this a lot in arena offense. At the beginning of the World Arena season, I actually did use her. Like I tried to cleave. So like it was a full 30 book, a lot of like the Pavel type cleave. My Pavel was never like the quickest. So like it was a bit tough. I wasn't able to like pull off like a 300 speed Pavel with damage. So it was a bit tough to do it, and I kind of gave up on it. So like right now, like the only quote-unquote cleave I do is like Opsig, ML Charles Strays, that type of cleave. Outside my speed DPS gear is not that great. So Politis served that purpose. I still kind of use her versus Angel of Light Angelica, but only in like arena. So at the moment I'm gonna keep her like this. I think I'm gonna convert her into a more bulkier type Politis, mainly for World Arena, countermate Chloe's, Amelia's, and stuff like that. A-Raw is mainly used for Fire Expo at the moment, and I do use him sometimes. Like if the case is needed, like a Tywin or something, I need immunity, I need a defense buffer with Aureus, I do use him. Most people run him on Monarch. My Monarch is on maxed, but I guess I could use it too if I was faster. But mainly he's a PvE hero. I nerfed him a lot, I think, since last season. If you compare to last season's video, he was like 260 speed. So I nerfed him quite a bit because Amelia, I think made Chloe, and a lot of those kind of heroes right now are kind of taking my bulky speed gear. So that's why he's not really that good anymore. Mercenary Helga is for Blue Expo. Specter, interestingly enough, I had her on lifesteal with about 3.4k attack, 270 crit damage as well, but the bulk was really low. It was like a 1.1k defense and 11,000 HP. The speed was about the same, it's like 186, and 100% crit rate. The issue with that was, actually hold on, I have the exact gear, I think on Mercedes or something like that. So let me just quickly show it. Is it Mercedes? Yeah. It might be something like this. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's Mercedes gear, like directly, so it won't be too hard to kind of showcase what she's at. And I have a commentary on that myself. I don't know if a lot of people are changing this again. I know it's not that chest, it was something else. The crit damage one, I know this one, it was actually really bad. It's like this, but we'll get to the Mercedes thing. And then the boot is a speed boot, this one. So that's the, okay, so it's an immunity chest. Now which one was it? Probably with crit rate and speed. It's an immunity chest. Is it this one? It's not this one. It's okay, it's okay. Anyways, it's like roughly like this. This isn't the exact same gear. It's like kind of like this. The issue with this is that I felt that like once I used Specter on lifesteal, one, the damage wasn't there. It wasn't as high as this. Oh, and she is triple S because I've gotten really lucky lately on Fire Tenny, like getting her from like those monthly check-in 4 to 5 star tickets or whatever. So I recently just got her triple S. But my issue with Spectenny then was that the teams that are happening right now, even with Bellion, even though Bellion's kind of slow, but like Landy's, a lot of AoE. I feel like in a lot of the fights, I don't feel lifesteal Spectenny really does much anymore. Like compared to, like I say, last season, tail end of last season, beginning of Ambition season, I feel lifesteal Spectenny doesn't have the same effectiveness as she did. So I myself, I reverted her back to the speed one just in case I use her. I actually don't draft her much anymore because all of my drafts are like very, very aggro and very AoE too. And I know she's still good. I just definitely think that she on lifesteal is not paying off as much as I think it did before. A lot of mitigation as well. So I personally just, yeah, I'm just gonna keep her like this. This is exactly what she was like last season, I believe, actually. And this worked better for me because I had the damage I needed to let's say double like a soul burn to kill off RB, and it had more bulk than my lifesteal counterpart. So I felt like this was this ended up being a bit better. Plus now I do draft soul weavers more often than not, like a Maid Chloe, an Amelia, DN or something along those lines. This is my Celine. I have to rebuild her. Haven't touched in 2 seasons. I think I actually nerfed her passively just by moving gear like hand-me-downs. The way to go I think right now is definitely crit set, immunity set, pen set. So it's something I'll look into because I'm farming Katie's pretty crazy right now. This is my Assassin Sid. The speed is not really high, but 300, it's enough to contest. It's enough to gamble, and people are like, okay, is it faster than my, you know, whatever initiator I'm picking? Most of the time they have to ban him. If they don't ban him, it's because they're really confident that, you know, they'll outlive him. My Assassin Sid used to be on basket, but for whatever reason his basket proc just does never proc as much as like RB, even though it's plus 30. So I kind of moved him off. I went with Violet Talisman for an additional turn, hopefully that he dodges, because after the S3 he applies, he gets an evasion buff. Not 100% crit rate, but I was like in the middle of kind of rolling out a bit more damage in his substat gems. So it's kind of like Acid is like one of the rare heroes because of the self crit rate with his high innate crit rate. He has like 40 free crit rate pretty much. So he's like one of the rare heroes that you don't need to have a crit set or even a completed double set. This is why Maya is on a Unity in this counter set. This counter set actually rolled really well in terms of like if you just talk about pure gear score. But it's unfortunate that like most of the counter heroes I want are not exactly really fast. They don't need to be really fast. They need to be like bulkier. So this ended up just being like, okay, it has DPS stats. It has 21 speed. Okay, this goes on aces. So that was a problem solved there. And the Unity set was like also a question as well. But I think with the stuff min maxed, he should be 2.6k attack like pretty easily. That's like already maxed. I think this one has up to a 18%. Yeah, 18% attack, but I'm not gonna chase it because like even if I do, it's not necessarily guaranteed to kill. Flat attack is actually worse on him, even though he does have low base attack. Flat attack is worse on him in terms of the main stat here, but I couldn't do much because this has 18 speed and it's a speed set to complete it, and I think percent attack is still better here than the flat on the boot, but that's what I had. I'm not chasing it anymore. T-Siren, I haven't really used her a lot. She's pretty hard to even draft into these newer type of cleave comps, so I have to see what I want to do with her. She does have a plus 30 basket just like my RB, so I think this probably needs to go on someone else. I just haven't figured it out. But before I was on the Banshee binge, so yeah, she has a lifesteal set again, and I don't have a lot of heroes that can benefit from a lifesteal set like this. Generally now, like you want some bulk or some ability to sustain, right? So she's on a lot of purple gear. I'm satisfied with the crit damage. The crit rate is a bit but Alexa's basket hopefully procs. Used her a couple times in World Arena to counter cleave, especially when it's single target damage and they have no way to hit her like twice unless they do attack. The single target cleaves are pretty popular now. Lorena is mainly for Labyrinth. Summertime Assyria, I haven't gotten into fully looking at like, you know, making her really good. I'll show the stats anyway. But the attack is quite low. But right now we're seeing a Cecilia cleave. I should max all of that. Yeah, and then I probably should also mold this if I want to use her. It is effectiveness self-imprint. We'll see. So far she's working really well with Ran and with Cerise. So a lot of players are actually playing with her, and she does score some wins. So there's definitely potential in building her, and I'll probably look into her in the future when I have the gear or something. But so it has some decent gear. I think this one's pretty good. Ideally, like, this one would have been on my Senya or something like that. But I'll show my Senya gear later. C-Dom did convert her to pen set immunity set crit set, which is what I would ideally want on Celine as well. But there's a lot of stuff here is just kind of like mix and match just to make her kind of work. So she's definitely not on my like best gear in terms of like I don't really chase it. Like as long as like she could get the sobering kill, mainly for arena right now. As long as she gets the sobering kill, I was happy with it, and this does get most kills, so it's okay. Holiday Euphine, I built her mainly for like, you know, like Bazaar, like kind of F10y, and I haven't really used her, so I'm not quite sure how this will end up. I kind of just put her on some gear that has a bit of damage, has decent enough speed, and on the guided decision artifact, and that's it. In terms of like overall damage, this won't do a lot over time, so really it's cleanser plus some chip damage at the moment. This is not even molded, so in case that was like a Bazaar or something, this is not really molded to really help with the Bazaar cause. This one was maxed a long time ago, and then the cooldown, it is at A imprint. I think I did feed a green Euphine into her. BBK, as I'm making a recording here, BBK is about to get a buff. I think it's coming out next week. I don't know how mine will look at the moment in terms of like, is it going to be revenge set? Is it going to be counter set? But I'm... Oh, wait. I just got her to level 10 friendship. Awesome. Okay, so I was farming her friendship, actually. I didn't realize that I hit level 10. So she just hit level 10 fresh. But she seems really promising, so I definitely want to look into her. So probably showcase that by the next video, maybe. But because I never used her in this season, so we'll see. Sage Balance design never really changed. This Proof of Valor pretty good, decent for some anti-cleave scenario, especially if they don't have any way to like one-shot him really quick. He's still kind of like disgusting to deal with. Haven't really used him outside of anti-cleave, but yeah, these are the stats. I don't know what I would want from him. I probably want more defense on him, to be honest, or even a bit more speed. But I did chase the effect resistance on this build, because I feel like the effect resist ball is often the best thing. That was one of the biggest weaknesses when I did a showcase video on him about like 6 to 8 months ago, is that if he gets controlled or CC down, he is very, very useless in that sense. And an FCC I rebuilt for World Arena. Never in my life have I used FCC in World Arena except this season. Because again, pushing higher means fiercer competition, which means that I need to start, you know, using heroes that actually like, help my team survive and stuff. So FCC, of course, very popular pick. She's still a popular pick right now. That and C Armin, Crow. I went with the effect resistance build. It took me quite a lot of effort to chase that effect resist. I remember building this on a stream. The defense is pretty good. The effect resistance actually won't even really cancel out, like, let's say a Maid Chloe S1 bonk, because Maid Chloe has an 18% effectiveness, I think, innate. So it doesn't really even cancel that out, but it does really help, actually. It does really help. Usually a high priority target is FCC because her mitigation is really good for anyone else. So one of the highest priorities is FCC to be killed off, and to have the effect resistance helping, I think is really, really solid. In my opinion, I really like it. Of course, I've had scenarios where I'm like, oh, I wish I had the 100 effectiveness type of FCC. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't have any imprints on her. I wish in the future I can, because even with the stat line I am at right now, I think if I have a triple S, the FCC would look really solid for me. Like the speed, effect resistance, the defense, and then the HP would get to a point where I'd be more comfortable. Landy has not changed since last season. This season, definitely much harder to use a lifesteal Landy. I think counter Landy compared to lifesteal Landy would have more benefit, mainly because the heroes that are mainly run right now have a lot of unhealable. So Fire Charlotte has unhealable, Rem has unhealable on the S2, and let's face it, like, and you using a green doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna dodge Rem. So like once she applies the unhealable, the Landy just does not survive. So I'm actually working on this is double S right now. I did pull on the Landy return. I am working on injury set Landy. Again, if you watch that kind of RTA video, I showcased like I think 1 or 2 fights with injury SSB and injury Bellion together. Very, very good. The issue with the injury SSB or injury Bellion, depending on the team you're fighting, you're still not gonna do enough damage to take them down, because you only do take out up to 50% of their HP. So if they have like a really good healer, it's gonna really be hard to take it out. But Landy for me conceptually is that if she's on injury, she has the ability to kill and the ability to injure really quickly because she turns cycle so fast. So that's what I'm going to be working on as my next project. So I think by the next time I do an account showcase, I think she'll be ready, injury Landy, and I'll prove it out. I'll prove it out first, like it doesn't work. This is my Carrot. She got nerfed, but in a way buffed. So she lost a bit of attack, but more HP and more defense. But mainly I had to swap some gear out of her to give to Senya. Carrot has definitely fallen off a bit. Rem is very, very scary into her. And I've won against Carrot with Violet, because my Violet is built to survive stuff like that. So she's not exactly too strong anymore, and then we got Amelia running everywhere. So Amelia has like very accessible cleansing and barriers and stuff like that. So Carrot, I don't think she's that strong anymore. I've seen people build like 250 speed Carrots, which is pretty crazy, especially for like a pseudo counter cleave, I suppose. Yeah, so like this build is like tragic actually. I felt dirty 90ing this, but I was desperate to keep her usable while I had to take some of the stuff for Senya. So yeah, this is second RB. I built him out of more of a anti-Pavel cleave, but then Pavel kind of fell off when Bellion. He fell off a bit more because he's much harder to set up with Bellion existing. And like Angel of Light. So this Vildred ended up being not really usable. And yes, I did get it. I did end up having 2 Vildreds. One was the ML selector. At that time when I chose him, it was like, oh, you know, Spec Tenny, I'm almost at triple S. No other one I need. Secondary RB, I can make him degen, which this is technically still degen, it's just not counter. It doesn't do a lot of damage though. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It has worked, baiting Pavel cleave and then just, you know, blinding the entire team after he was revived. So it has worked, but I kind of keep shifting the gear around. He used to be counter and then never used him in terms of a counter fight. So yeah, this is my Broman. Use him in Guild War defense mainly. And he's still there because sometimes he still gets the off win here and there, so I still keep him built. Tywin is was sort of built as a hybrid. I didn't know what I wanted to do with him, to be honest, but mainly I got him a bit more defense. Last season I think he was at 1200, and this time just gave him a bit more effectiveness, which ideally you need a bit more than 88. Exceeding 120, 150 would be best. And my Bruiser stats are not quite there either, so it's kind of like It's kind of like an everywhere A Tywin. I haven't had great success with this one, although he hasn't caused me to lose because I don't really draft A Tywin a lot. So yeah, so that's him. Kiana is for Green Expo, which is out for the month, so I'm not talking about that. May Chloe, I built her to be almost triple S. I built her to be as bulky as possible. The effect resistance ended up being the secondary thing, because I felt that like effect resistance May Chloe is, unless it's like super high, it's really hard to, still really hard to like resist the debuffs of like the main debuffers, you know. So I ended up just, you know, putting together some resist set just to resist some of those provokes away and stuff like that, but mainly gave her bulk. There's a lot of high damage heroes right now, and the Water's Origin with the speed, with the bulk, and the effect resistance, I'm okay with this. I'm pretty satisfied with this at the moment. It's been working out. I think if I get 5 more effect resist, yeah, 5 more effect resist would look pretty, right? So 20% from her passive, so 170 would be where she's looking. Last Rider Crown, never changed him since last season. He is triple S. He is definitely very strong still. A lot of AoE at the moment. A lot of single target, a lot of AoE. I think that's predominantly why I think the meta is pretty good, because single target heroes are back. Luna, A Robbie, Violet, Remnant Violet, built for high damage. And then AoE is also really healthy. So like unlike a couple seasons ago where like Specter just hid away from the single target, so everybody had to draft AoE. And then Last Rider Crowd kind of fell out, and then now he's kind of back. Really good into Charlotte, of course into SSB. Bellion, he's okay, but if Bellion's on injury, you gotta be very careful when using him. But I have used Last Rider Crowd quite a bit this season, and I'm really liking him still. F clearly got nerfed. I think last time I showcased she was 290 speedish. I think something like that. Nerfed her a lot. I don't really want to use her in World Arena. A bit of a risk for me. I don't have the setup to make her work. This is 15 speed, I think, on I-90, which I probably will. I'm kind of hungry for speed set speed gear on helmets. But other than that, she's really used for my some of my expos. So yeah, so she has some like decent speed gear on her, but like wouldn't be really used on anyone else. So far she'll just keep that. Cerise, 298, not 300, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. Effectiveness at almost 150, an A imprint. Let's quickly show the stats. The bulk is not really there. Cerise is apparently making a comeback as well. In World Arena, that is. But for now, you know, she'll work this way. Senya, my new project. I'm definitely trying to build her up. Very strong into Rem and Green Violet. Like if this was max limit broken, of course that'd be a lot better. And if I had some imprints, that would be very nice as well. But outside of that, I think I'm okay with this. I might actually just swap out that effectiveness there back to flat HP, because the 6 effectiveness is not really going to add much to the overall thing, and getting more health I think would be just a bit better. So I'm just going to re-roll that when I can. 9% defense if I can min-max it. 4 speed if I min-max it. And this one's not really good to chase. It's just really high attack, very low gear score. Very low gear score, in fact. Like, this would be not acceptable if I was critiquing my own account, but I just wanted to hit the 6k attack. So it's a bit greedy, but I think hopefully in the future I can get a better neck. This one's actually okay. If I get 9% defense roll there, it would be very solid as well. This one I could get up to 9% health, which would benefit her as well. So I think overall it's okay. I think I'm looking at about 1600. Is that too optimistic? Might be too optimistic. I was hoping for 1600 defense. I think 1600 defense would be really solid on this build. I think that's optimistic until I get a better neck. So Anyways, so this is my Sid, mainly for Green Expo, but Sid is very, very strong right now. After getting the buff, speed imprint, very good for cleavers. So, but I don't have the speed DPS gear, so I can't really build them. But anyways, Green Expo, PvE hero at the moment. Kayron got nerfed to the ground. He's sitting on 5 purple gear. Oh man, I mean, and on 90 gear. He's not in a really strong place right now. Maybe in some select anti-cleave comps that I would be comfortable using him, but he doesn't really come to my mind anymore, so that's unfortunate. Clarissa, this is mainly for Wyvern 13 one shot. Troublemaker Closet, I rebuilt him as well when I rebuilt all my knights for World Arena. I haven't had to use him yet. I haven't felt like I would have won a certain fight if I had used him over, like, let's say another knight. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm just not a Troublemaker Closet player. But in terms of like stats, I think he's relatively like pretty high. Like the stuff I put on him is pretty high gear score. This one's got 12 speed. Yeah, you know, this one's actually not that bad either. So the stuff I have on him is actually pretty high gear score. It's just that, like, it's counter tanky stuff, so it's kind of hard to use. Like, I think I had some of this gear on Rowana before, but like it's hard to use. I don't know who I would want to use it on. DN is very, very strong still. Like, you know, she constantly, I think every season has this kind of like, she kind of falls off and then she kind of comes back, and then she kind of falls off and then she kind of comes back. She'll still struggle with like Bassar, whereas Amelia wouldn't struggle. Amelia and May Chloe doesn't struggle against Bassar as much. But she's very, very good into, let's say, you have some passive damage like Bellion, and you have like an SSB or something like that. Having the anti-crit buff is it can save the game. So I did rebuild her, and she's doing well. Definitely, like, it's really hard for me to pick sometimes, like, which soul weaver I want to use. DN has a pretty good utility still after so many seasons, not getting a buff, no EE, very, very strong hero. Definitely recommend still keeping her built. I've been guilty of like ungearing her and then regearing her and ungearing her every season, but this season I feel like she's very strong as long as they don't like put a Bassar against you, or like a Briar Witch or a F10. This is my F10. Haven't had to use her a lot. Definitely have used her in some scenarios and has won the game because of it, but more likely than not, I lost more games using her than I have winning. So I kind of just, like, she has gear on and actually pretty decent like speed gear. I think this chest, yeah, 21 speed, like, it has okay gear on, so I feel like I'll keep her built for now unless there's someone that has a higher priority. The issue is also, while I'm making this recording, ML Cowrick's getting a buff, and ML Cowrick honestly just hard counters F10. So I'm not quite sure how long F10 will last. Still probably a good pocket pick. I mean, that's the issue with a lot of these heroes, is that, you know, in the pocket pick they're always going to be good because they're counter picks. But like first pick scenario, definitely fell off. Then my Watcher Shiri, used him in World Arena for cleave comp. Use him in Arena a lot for the speed imprint and Sachet Thanes. Mine is built on some on immunity. Immunity with some bulk. The damage is fine. It would do like 18,000 damage on anyone without attack buff, I believe. And with attack buff, it's like over 27,000. So 20 something thousand. I think it's 27,000 actually. So it's it ends up being like, it's usable. Blue Crow, I haven't had to upgrade him since last season either. I did get the cooldown on the S3. I think that is actually quite good. And actually, I should get that to +5, get the combat readiness. Perhaps even invest in the S1. But I don't use Crow. Compared to all the knights, I don't use Crow a lot. But I have used him. Last season, I'm like, oh, I don't use Crow, I don't use FCC. This season, I have. It's honestly just the competition up at Emperor and Legend is just that you need to have some solid knights built. Otherwise you don't really stand a chance, unless you're cleaving, of course. And even Cleaver is Draft Knight, so... this is my Amelia. So a lot of the speed gear that I had on A-Raz went to Amelia. Of course, everybody has seen her ability to turn cycle, provide support, attack buffs, cleanse, and stuff like that. So she's very, very strong hero, very good investment at the moment. So yeah, this was like my A-Raz helmet. This is like this is just like a really weird one. Don't remember what the health was there. This might be attack. Yeah. I had to roll that one out because the crit damage was only one roll, so it would gain more from the flat health there. Otherwise, I don't recommend usually rolling flat health. This is A-Raz chest as well, A-Raz neck too. So a lot of Adventure Raz's gear. This used to be on my maid Chloe last season, and then this one was just like a decent boot. I needed the defense on her mainly, so this one had a lot of defense. So I was like, okay, I just put that on her. So 102 effect resist, and this artifact is actually really strong. It's very strong when you're, let's say like I have an A Robbie with my Amelia and someone like, you know, LQC S3 into my Robbie without attack buff. Like this heals a lot. Like this heals based on the ally's health. So it's pretty good. So Dilibet unfortunate right now. She doesn't work into many of the debuffers, specifically like Angel of Light. Angel of Light cycles too fast, and if you cleanse with the S3, you push Angel of Light. So unless you can kill Angel of Light Angelica quick enough, you're never gonna outpace her debuffs. So therefore, Dilibet is just at the moment a useless cleanser. Yeah, I think everybody has seen that. It's just not really good. So she's on some gear that just have to have her built, I suppose, just because like it wouldn't be used on anyone else. So I just put her there, but I think I used her maybe once, not against Angel of Light, and against like a Tywin or something, and like it still didn't feel like it was necessary. So this is my Apocalypse Robbie on Draco Plate. I'll probably have to do some damage calculation tests, but ideally I want her to maintain roughly the same amount of HP. I kind of like the high HP there, but I kind of want more defense. I want like 1400 defense. I'm thinking if I could lower the crit rate and put her on the Azure Comet, I think that might be better. I'm not quite sure though. I don't mind Draco Plate. It hasn't really let me down, but I feel like I need more weight, like more ways to kind of like get turns quicker. So her gear is a lot of like funneled gear, like, you know, really high health and stuff like that, but it's like if you calculate the gear score, it's all not really high. So my A-Robbie is definitely not like the best out there, but I mean she works, and she's just a very strong hero in general, so she works for now. Of course on pen set. Let's see here. Basar is built. I'll just quickly show it. I don't think I've used him much this season. He's also been kind of like getting nerfs and then getting buffs in terms of my my gear for him. Made him faster and then made him slower because I needed on other heroes I used more, stuff like that. Fire Shuri, I had him built mainly as an imprint when I thought I wanted to do like, you know, focus on cleaving, but I don't have enough speed DPS gear to allow me a full deck or flexibility to create a full team of cleavers. I also don't have a really good cleave mind, so I ended up ditching that. This is my General Purgus, and it's on Draco Plate. I used to have him on Warhorn, but I like Draco Plate Sustain. I think for this one, for this upcoming season, as the season's ending, I might want to drop his crit damage and give him a bit more bulk and maybe a bit more speed. I'll have to see though. It definitely does depend on my gear, like if it allows for that, or you know. This is for Green Expo. Dark Corvus not used on free gear. LQC, I haven't gone to the I haven't converted to the pen set, crit set, immunity set type of LQC. Higher crit damage, similar bulk, maybe lower attack. I haven't gone to that yet. She is at a double S. So this is, I think this is identical to my LQC last season. So not much to see here, but I mean, in case you are watching me for the first time, this is just my OQC stats. Yeah, it's really hard to compete with this because it has like speed gear with like really good stats. So like even if I were to set her on a immunity pen crit, it's just gonna be really hard for me to get. So yeah. And then Mercedes, I think she's like one of those heroes that, you know, was really proven out on people's RTA live streams. I mean, I've seen it get used against me as well. Landy, I mean, once you proc magic for friends, Landy gets melted, especially if she gets an attack buff. Very, very powerful. I do only have her at an A, and the rest is not molded yet because I haven't really used her too much, but I know she works. So originally I gave my speed set that I have on Spectenny into her while she had the lifesteal set on my Spectenny. I pretty much just flipped them around. I'm gonna test this out because with the speed set on the Spectenny, my speed on the Mercedes wasn't even that fast. So I'm just gonna keep her on this lifesteal now for now, and then we'll see. Like maybe she'll still be a pocket pick, but I definitely think that she's pretty strong. Kitty Clarissa was built mainly to be a counter to Angel of Light, but Angel of Light brings in an issue with like a kind of like a Kitty Clarissa because you lose a spot for like a DPS or support, whereas I think ML Cowrick, once he gets his buff, has a better shot versus Angel of Light because he's bulky, so harder to kill. He brings support, he brings barrier, so that's quote unquote a heal. Bring full cleanse, immunity buff, attack buff. So Kitty Clarissa doesn't do that. So unfortunately, like after I built her, so she has like with Strack, assuming she has 50% or more HP, she has over 300 effect resist. That's more than enough to resist most Angel of Lights. But it's like I never use her because the issue is that like once I bring her in, I lose one of those slots, right? And so far all I've been doing is honestly just banning or pre-banning Angel of Light. I think it's just been a bit easier for me to deal with. I don't really have a good answer to it because I feel like once Angel of Light is allowed in, unless you predetermine you want to ban her, it's really hard to work around her. You have to dedicate 2 ways to deal with her debuffs, and that could be too much. Like that could be too much. Too much sacrifice into your draft, that is. C-Armin really well used right now. Everybody's using her. I got a mold of this. I have lost games where I didn't get the provoke, so what did she take? Libra? So I should do it. I'm gonna do it right now actually. I have the friendship thing. I should do it right now because like she needs the effectiveness. Otherwise she loses a lot of what makes her really valuable. The 100% effectiveness is huge. 100% provoke, that is huge to her buff, along with her mitigation. So, okay, now she's ready, right? That's 100%. Good. All right, so yeah, so I went with the resist build. A lot of people go with resist build. I'm half on it. I just did it because I had the gear to do it. Whereas like an effectiveness build is actually harder for me to achieve. If I was gonna go effectiveness, I think I would want to get to at least 100 before I even started, you know, trying. But I mean, I have a 26 there. It's actually, this one's kind of this is kind of weird. It's just good bulk for her, I suppose. But yeah, so that's where she's at right now. So 192 speed. Alright, so once I had Mola the C-Armin S1, her CP increased, so like Bazaar and the order went away. So let me just go back. So I was talking about Kitty and then that was C-Armin. Yeah, Tamarine is mainly for expos, like PvE in general, so pretty high effectiveness, high effect resist, decent speed, decent bulk, definitely good for PvE. She's using multiple expos. She's in my Dark Expo, Fire Expo. She's also in my Katie's farming at the moment. So very good, like all around PvE. Healer, of course. Tywin is just whatever. I'm trying to level his friendship right now, so just move on. Haste, Blood Moon Haste, very good hero. Really like him. Not maxed mold on the S3. It could make a big difference. Mainly I haven't gotten the helmet I wanted, which is like more speed, more health, and more defense or something like that, but I can't 90 this. It just doesn't look that good. Eventually I'll probably chase a bit of more effect resist, but otherwise this is what he looks like right now. I want ideally like 100 or more effect resist, so kind of like how I built like FCC and stuff like that. Idol Cheer, very strong hero. Doris, I nerfed her almost to the ground. She had some of my best like Soul Weaver tank immunity speed sets, but I don't use her a lot, especially even in Guild War anymore, so I just put her on some double sets and whatever. She'll still tank stuff. She still works. Syria is PvE. J Kisei used mainly for like arena and Guild War. Usually I put Symbol of Unity on her if I do the hit with her. Yeah, should I just show the stat? I'll show the stats, I guess. Not really too crazy. Destruction set. I think it's like 4.2k attack with the Symbol of Unity. Let's show this. Infernal Kawazu as well. Use them a couple times. Mainly the S3 only. Don't really care about the healing on the S2. But it mainly like a kind of like an aggro type of nuker. He does pretty good damage. I use him mainly for Guild War offense. I have selected him in World Arena and I get outdrafted, so he doesn't really work, at least the way I had used him. But yeah, so these are kind of the stats. For him, I kind of emphasize more the what do you call it? The attack instead of the bulk, because I want him usually to get what do you call it? Get the kill. In case I don't have enough damage, no attack buff beforehand. What I have done before was like use Amelia to boost him to proc Politis, and then he actually gets another boost because she AoEs. So based on his this one, yeah, he gets another 20% combat readiness. So with Amelia's push, with his own push, Politis does not beat him, and then so he ends up with a 1-turn attack buff, Vigored, and he's ready to take out someone else. So it's a pretty good combination into Politis, that is, as long as you have Amelia. So this is my Bellion. It is triple S now, farmed or not farmed, but had to wait a long time for the transmit stones. The crit rate is definitely lacking. That's something I want to get in my boot eventually, some upgraded boot. 85 I think I would be really happy with. Higher is better, but 85 in my opinion would be good, as long as I can maintain like some of the defense, some of the health, and don't drop that too much. So realistically, the stats are kind of flipped on this boot. I wouldn't mind getting to 250 crit damage, up the crit rate a bit, but here are the stats. A bit more min-maxing I can do here, but at this point, it's like it's getting really close to max. So there's 14% defense there, 9% defense that I could get, 9% health. Very hard to like justify min-maxing those now. It's for 2% versus something you can just swap out, like maybe effect resist, and you can actually make it a usable stat. So very hard to the stat gems, man. They don't come cheap. This is a pretty bad neck. The flat health is unfortunate. It could have been speed, it could have been anything else. It would have been like a lot more solid. This one, I think it was, what was the stat there before? I forgot. Actually, I think I could get more speed out of this one too. I think this one can, yeah, this could get, with a greater gem, it can get a bit more speed. I think it's like 6 speed. But again, it's like, the thing is like, do I want to put that one more speed in there? I'm not quite sure. The 30 defense is nice. The flat defense is nice there with that combo. The crit rate is good. Even if she's on a crit rate neck, it doesn't guarantee a 100% crit rate. You do need crit rate splashed everywhere else, but just not as much as I have showcased here. I do have one sword ready for her. It's just that I need other pieces to kind of work. So this one has 16 speed, so I gained 13 out of it. No loss in defense because the weapons don't hold defense, and more health. The attack is dropped, but the crit rate is dropped. So realistically, what I'm looking for right now is either a boot that has like, you know, 0 crit damage, and like a ton of crit rate, or a crit rate neck with a high crit damage or something like that. I think with a crit rate neck at the moment I'll be capped. So let me just like put this on here. Yeah, I'll be over 100% for sure because I have the other pieces that have like pretty decent crit rate as well. So like I think the easiest thing for me right now would be if the boot had high crit rate. Let's say something like this. Assuming that it had high health, okay. This would be better. Although, wait, where's my? Oh, right there. Something like this. Crit rate still lacking. But yeah, I'll see. So right now I'm still farming. I'm still farming Katie's pretty hard. Originally was for pen set, and now I'm now on an injury set binge. So I'm definitely looking for it. Revenge set is also pretty good too. If it rolls high, it can be useful for like Ruels, blue crows and stuff like that. Because you know, high bulk, you'll be able to get the speed faster. Champion Zerato, I took my Bruiser Rylak gear and put it on him, just in case if someone runs like low damage, high debuff type comps, he might come in handy. Never had to use him yet, but I had him built just in case for that to happen. So we'll see. Ruel I also nerfed a bit, mainly for Maid Chloe. I took some of the more prime pieces, so she lost a bit of speed. I think she was like 198 last season. The health and defense about the same, and I lost a bit of resist. As you can see, I never really use Ruel. Again, I say that all the time. I haven't gone to the point where I wanted to use a healer that does not do an attack buff. So Amelia, Maid Chloe, and Diane are like my 3 Soul Weavers that I use. I don't even use Rowana. I feel Rowana's not that great anymore. The Ruel is triple S. Again, just like my Specteni, Destina's also really love me on daily summons. So I got her triple S without actually spending these bookmarks pulling for extra Destina. So it's really good for me. But outside of that, I don't use her a lot. So the Mola is just not there. But she has gear on that would be, you know, suitable for like a Soul Weaver or a tank at this kind of speed. But she has a lot of resist. Like I just don't have a Knight or another Soul Weaver that needs that resist. So this gear stays on her for now. Oxlots, use them all the time. Use them in Guild War, use them in Arena, especially when people don't have Politis. He's on Spirit's Breath right now because of Bellion. Yeah, so he has some of my I would say some of my fastest gear. Cause again, like some of like gear like this, like who would use this really? So it's like Oxlots, easy, and then just whatever speed boot to complete the speed set. Vikings for Banshee. Does it Rem? I draft Violet a lot more than I do Rem. I have used Rem when people like pick Carrot or whatever and kind of force them to ban Rem or something. I have used Rem, so it's not that I don't. I'm confident with using her at the way she is, I think, with some mitigation. But I haven't really, like, even when I used her, she hasn't really made it into the draft, so or into the fight. So yeah, I don't pick her I don't pick her a lot. I do like people who pick her, and then I have like Senya and Violet choices, because I think my Violet is built for more meaningful fights. Sirmia is for Katie's, and I usually run Hellcutter on her, but that's on what's her name? That's on LQC at the moment. Corinne is for, well, actually no, not for anything anymore actually. Yeah, because I changed my Wyvern one shot lately, so she's not for anything at the moment. She used to be Wyvern one shot. This is my Violet. So pen set Violet. I went with 20,000 HP. This kind of counters Briar Witch. Briar Witch can't really, like, Briar Witch is not really good into Violet, except maybe the S1 getting a defense break or something like that. Because if she does the S3, he can cleanse too. So, and it's not guaranteed that she'll hit him if she's not on like Unity. So I like the 20,000 HP play. It has come in clutch. The base speed is kind of disturbing. Sometimes I wish I can get that turn to be able to get the lifesteal off or get the S3 off before I die. But it's a risk. The 20,000 HP can survive Crows That was the main reason why I built him at 20,000 HP, is mainly to survive a Crow S3. So the quote-unquote counters that were for him become less and less valuable versus this type of Violet. Of course, like I said, without the speed though, he has flaws. Oh, I do love this neck though. This neck ended up being like just really, really good. It's an attack neck. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's like, what stat can you get on him? It doesn't matter what main stat it is, in my opinion. This one. And then this one. This used to be my lifesteal SSB. Yeah, so 20,000 HP. He is not max imprinted. So I mean, there's still a bit more room to grow, up to 18% on a Scorpio Thief. That's quite a lot of attack. How much is that? I'm missing 12. So 12% on this. Definitely like 3,600 attack. So he has much more room to grow here. But I'm not gonna push him anymore. But like I said, like the pen sets very, very good. Actually, can I roll this? I don't have, no. But Violet is very cancerous. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of Violet. I've been the one using Violet too, so I know how bad he is for the meta. Violet is really unfair, right? So even Charlotte with Symbol of Unity can lose to Violet. I've had that happen in terms of like, I used Violet, someone used Charlotte. For whatever reason, I had to keep the Charlotte in, and the Violet still wins. Like it's disturbingly broken. He's disturbingly broken. So this Charlotte is not imprinted. I don't use her a lot, actually. I don't use her a lot. I did use her quite a bit at the beginning, but Landy kind of outcycles her. If they have really good mitigation and healing, it's hard to kill off. But I have her built. I think she is okay for what I need. I think I'm confident in using her. This one I can get up to... The speed here, it used to be a really, really high rolled effect resist. I thought I would give this the ML Ken, but I ended up needing this for Charlotte, so I rolled it into speed. I think you can get more speed. I can get more speed out of this. People who are really familiar with substat gems, and you can see how many rolls that is. I think I can get up to 7 or 8 speed if I'm min max. Yeah, so this one's max there. This one could be, this one could be 4 speed, and not 2 speed. So there's quite a bit of speed I can get back. Almost 175, almost 175, I think. The crit damage could be min max if I needed it, but haven't really had haven't used her that much that I wanted to. So injury SSB. So if you have watched that RTA montage, you would see it's pretty disgusting in some comps. Running SSB and Bellion on injury really good, and this is why I'm very sold on getting my Landy to be on injury in the future, because I think, like I said, like SSB sometimes doesn't have the ability to kill off, like, you know, someone has 50% HP left, but they still have a huge amount of HP. So like, for example, like a Robbie or something like that, you know, and there's like Crows. They might still have like, you know, 12,000 HP or 10,000 HP, and it's still really hard to kill off. This SSB is a bit too squishy, but so far it's been working when people don't realize that the injury setting off is coming from SSB. So they'll go after Bellion first. And so because Bellion's on Elbrus and she's on injury, so if they go after Bellion, it doesn't proc injury, right? So that's why I built the SSB to be coupled with her, so that they will, no matter what, they're gonna get injured over time. SSB Bellion has actually won me games versus Rowana comps and Last Rider Crow, which is surprising. It wasn't even a gear gap thing. It's just because that they had like Last Rider Crow, they had Blue Crow, they had Rowana. I had SSB, had Bellion, had like DN and FCC, and it was just like, even though they healed and Last Rider Crow got his S3 off, he could not kill because his HP was so low, and Blue Crow would not be able to S3 because Rowana kept on healing him. So he would be at like 50% HP, so like 10,000, 12,000 HP or whatever, with Frenzy also increasing, but he would not have lost HP, so he would never be able to S3. So it has some interesting play. I usually am on Drink. Bloodstone is mainly when I'm farming KDs, so I use her for farming KDs. And I swap to effectiveness for KDs, but I usually just use her like this with an effectiveness ring swapped for farming KDs. That's it. So yeah, so let me show the stats. So it's got some okay stats. She needs a bit more defense. I definitely think that she needs 1400 defense, which I am going to be looking for in the future, hopefully from the boot. This boot is not I-90able, but I don't have a lot of boots in general that is like HP or defense main, because you know, I convert speed boots mainly, so it's unfortunate I don't have that much selection, but this is working for now. Mercer was kind of built mainly, I don't even know for what, but she has quite a bit of bulk. Again, like, you know, farming lifesteal a lot, and you eventually get some pieces that are usable, like a lot of defense there. So this is a very bulky Mercer. The damage is on the lower side, but very bulky. And again, it put a 67 sword on because I didn't know what to do with her. I just wanted to build her so like in case I needed her. Euphenus for Euphene Labyrinth. Akates I don't really even use in Guild War anymore, so she's just on spare gear. Rowana, I had to kind of rebuild her with effect resist, thinking that I would need her into Bellion, but again, if Bellion is on injury, Rowana does not pay off over time. Assuming you have Rowana and you have another healer like Maid or Amelia, your Rowana takes up like one of the DPS slots, and if you have a damage mitigation, in my RTA fights, a lot of my experience is that when people draft Rowana, they think I probably ban Rowana, or they think they win because of Rowana, because of injury. They have two healers, so they will lack damage. So eventually the SSB and the Bellion together become really strong. So even though I built her to be a Bellion counter, with my own experience of using Bellion and injury in general versus Rowana just does not cut it. I think if for specific comps it could still work, especially if it's like a Landy is the DPS. So Landy gets pushed from Rowana's passive, Landy gets speed buff and just continues to cycle the S3. It's hard for Bellion and SSB to sustain that kind of that damage. But if they have like a slower form of damage, let's say a Rem, they're not going to really do much in terms of like Rowana's not going to really help much. Ran, I haven't built. He's still on the Friendship Artifact, so he's not really going to be showcased until I can figure out how to use him. No Molas at the moment, but this is what I have him on. He has some X Pavel gear, X Assassin Colleague gear, which I have ungeared them both. Top model Lulica, not geared. This is my Wyvern 13 Rem. Don't ask me why I have two Rems. ML Ken, not really used. Used in like Guild War offense, arena offense, but not really used. Eaton, I still use him in Guild War, surprisingly. Camilla, okay, I don't think that's pretty much it. Sinful Angelica, I have used her versus Maid Chloe pickers to a successful degree, which I'm pretty happy about, but it's got to be like the right last pick. It has to be like the right last pick. It's somewhat hard to fit her in because she has no sustain, so unless your team is insanely aggro, versus like their Maid Chloe draft and they don't have mitigation, I wouldn't recommend Singelica, but Singelica works. She has worked for me. I was pretty happy to see that. Flan I haven't built yet because I don't have the gear at the moment. So that's pretty much it. So that was a pretty long one, as usual. These account showcases are getting longer as my roster keeps getting bloated. But hopefully you guys did enjoy that, and yeah, whatever, you know, new heroes I work on, I'll make the individual showcases for. So hopefully you guys did enjoy that. I'll end this here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.